Dragon.
The Sonacom Dragon. So things are rolling very well right now for Afreeca, but if Gen.G ends up getting it, that could end up proving to be a little bit disastrous. If Afreeca doesn't get enough of an advantage, then Baron bait potentials can certainly come online much earlier than expected. Also should note that it's going to be teleport for Sylas and Sona, and Airy for the Sona, not the Kleptomancy.
Now, part of the reason why we're talking about Sylas not necessarily being in the game anymore has to do with his wave clear in the mid lane. The wave clear on his passive was nerfed largely into the ground. Really just doesn't do a lot of damage to minions anymore, so his wave shove is just not going to be there, and he can be abused in a lot of these caster matchups. Kuzan, we'll see whether he can actually shove Yukal around here.
So far, not too much action happening down here in bottom, and interestingly, Sona has Doran's ring. They're on a different planet. You know, we mentioned that Summoner's Rift is flat, Runeterra, right? Yeah. So Afreeca, they come from a different world right now. That's why they're picking the Sylas.
The Void?
No.
Are we gonna? Come on! I was trying to keep it in the vibe. You know,
that's not what happened.
It's not coming from the Void.
No. They have an Airy on Sona, and they're trying to CS with her, utilizing Doran's ring. So,
yeah, I guess they'd have better ideas in the Void, wouldn't they?
I mean, you're just gonna fall behind down in bottom. I actually don't understand why they would elect to take these runes.
Yeah, not having the Klepto is actually really, really hard. And remember, yesterday...
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Just take it. I'm really not understanding what is going through their minds right now.
Well, yesterday we saw Teddy with the slowest quest completion ever.
Yes.
On a Sona. I'm not actually sure whether he completed the quest in the end.
Slow and Teddy wins the race.
Well, they lost. So
that's what he was trying to do.
It was a fun pun. Unfortunately, just wasn't correct. And this could just be an even slower one, right? Because I assume Aiming wants to go back and just build a full Frostfang, wants to have a little bit more lane presence with the Doran's Ring in the earlier stages, keep himself alive. Using the teleport, he can then get back and continue trying to push things forward as Ruler looks for more. And Aiming just taking boomerangs, taking projectiles, and him and Life having just the best time ever. Talking about Ruler, of course. Ricochet is continuing to do some work, and Aiming's going to lose that whole health bar in trying to keep himself alive. Meanwhile, topside, Dread is going to get a flash out of Cuvée. Still some more auto attacks coming in here, and it's press the attack Gnar on the top side. Most likely the Cuvée special in the on-hit Gnar variety.
And also, Ghost was expended out of Dread in order to try to make that play work, so he will be lacking that for a little bit. And down here in bottom lane, Aiming and Sennen, they're trying to hold on for the time being, but the Hecarim's actually falling behind the Sejuani. Peanut, all of his rubber band camps are going to end up respawning here soon. However, the one flip side for Afreeca is that Keen is getting ahead.
Yeah, and he's probably going to have an even better time in this matchup.
Yeah,
the last one wasn't a difficult one either. But yeah, this is going to go very, very well as we've got Dread poking his way around once again. Kuzan trying to get under his turret. He's going to do so. Doesn't even need to use the flash and has teleport to get back into this lane. No harm, no foul on the Gen.G side, but it's Dread once again not quite finding the gank that he wanted. And there we are. So Frostfang does come in eventually. It's what we're expecting, but still needs to get to work on that quest.
And Gnar's really trying hard to crash this wave end because Keen just has a beautiful golden freeze right now up here in this top lane. And the CS deficit is quite noticeable currently.
Yep, Wallop going to come out from Cuvée to get that wave pushed forward like you were talking.
As the first item.
Yeah, it has been sort of the way people deal with a lot of these Sona lanes is first back Executioners.
Yep.
And you can transition pretty nicely into a Mortal Reminder as well, and that will help against Keen, Dread, Yukal, and Aiming.
Yeah, you've done your homework. You really have.
be proud of me, LS Senpai, as that's going to be Devour on cooldown, and Aiming and Senin no longer allowed to enter this lane.
Oh,
okay, ring around the Rosie. Arctic Assault should be able to get him out of here, but he's going to get ulted very quickly. I believe it might have been a turret play.
Yep, they're going to get a turret plate down here in the bottom lane, as well as a little bit more poke onto Aiming.
Oh my goodness, just the tip. It's 300 health now onto Aiming. He's running out of mana. Roll with the spell shield. Delicious.
Is it? Do you think that it is delicious? Well, Scuttle Crab's even getting in on it, too.
I assume it tastes a bit like honeysuckle.
Do you think that when Aiming comes back down to bottom lane, that he's going to tell Senin what just happened?
What just happened? One River King for Aiming. So it wasn't a date. It was just an old catch-up between friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm an optimist.
All right.
I like to think that their romance is true. UCal, looking for a blue buff. Gets that ward over the wall. Peanut spots it. And Peanut just straight up doesn't really care. In line with the current champions that they have, will have access to that. Aiming goes back, buys another blue item, but it's not an item that's going to help him win this lane in the slightest.
Yep. Picks up the Tear of the Goddess. As meanwhile, we're taking a quick look at top lane, and yeah, the CS gap it's noticeable.
How much of the reason why Cuvée picks Nah is because he had
runes ended up getting hit and whatnot, and then occasionally we see top laners pick the champion, and it almost feels like it has to do with either comfort because of the player.
Well, I mean, Cuvée is definitely an example of that. He is probably one of our most successful Nah players.
But Gnar in League of Legends is not.
As we're going to have these blue buffs traded. Top side of the map seems to belong to the Afreeca Freecs. What we were expecting. Play around Keen if you're the Afreeca Freecs, and play around Ruler if you're Gen.G. So far, the Ruler tactic is working a little bit better. Turret plate's going down in their favor, but Aiming and Senin in this Sonatam Kancher, a ticking time bomb. They're just trying to wait it out. And, okay, it's Glacial Prison. Just used for some harass.
I really do feel like it's going to be quite scary despite being a Sona team composition, because it can be the Gen.G champions.
Yeah, that's a stun coming in. Gets the ult out of Dread just to try and lock down a Rift Scuttler. 11 minutes. It's one of the latest Drakes that we've seen stay alive for a very long time. Final chapter, he is going to die, and he sees that Peanut is there.
Sees Peanut's there. Dread is pathing now towards the bottom side of the map, and he's having to do this because of all the pressure that's being created. You can probably guess that he would have ideally liked to.
Latest Prowling Projectile comes in. Life is going to hop off, deny that, and another turret plate. That is 4 eaten already, bottom side. Only one more to come in, and they've still got a few minutes in order to do so. 3.5 to be exact. Another one. Senin comes back to the lane and wonders why he chose that, because actually I wouldn't want to be there, as Aiming way too low. Has to wait to press W as well until that
and now Peanut's here too.
Yep, Peanut looking for it, but they're just going to happen. This is a gigantic advantage in exactly the place that Gen.G wants a gigantic advantage.
Yeah, and right now, Sivir, 121 CS here at 12 minutes. I'm almost impressed, but not quite.
Yeah, but that's intended route. Ward in this Raptor camp would have shown
Peanut
Peanut.
has to be careful here.
Peanut's going to dive in. The you and me is going to be used. Final chapter comes in. They're just trying to get some sort of...
They're trying to get the cleanse.
Yeah, some sort of positive interaction out of this one. Teleport's coming down from both top laners from base. In comes Keen. He's going to have to flash immediately, though. Glacial Prison comes in. Dread dives on forward. That crescendo was fantastic with Kuzan. Goes golden. First blood onto the Catfish. And that's going to be more as well. Gigantic Gnar into the backline. A double kill for Cuvée. And once again, Gen.G have found it. It's a clean ace at 13.5 minutes.
That's probably game over, Atlas, to be completely honest. The Sivir is so far out of control right now in this game. Getting the Mountain Drake, and the next Dragon's going to respawn.
Getting the Mountain Drake, plates in the mid lane, getting to send Ruler towards the top lane with his teleport is only going to extend his advantage.
Let's see if he can actually end up getting one more plate inside of him. Maybe two.
Yeah, no, it should be two here, right? There are so many caster creeps.
Oh, it's going to be real close. You can see it was...
Oh, yeah. I wasn't able to get the last one.
That's why I'm not impressed at the end of the day.
Yeah, I can understand that. So, I'm not impressed anymore either.
I'm not...
What a disaster.
At this point, yeah.
I think...
really killed it for me.
Well, I mean, it's about to be 15 minutes. I think Gen.G should probably surrender. Yeah, I think it's all over. We got double execution is calling though. Cuvee, he's got one of his own.
Infernal Drake.
Look at the buy from Cuvee, by the way. Is it full Black Cleaver? What do you reckon? Yep, full Black Cleaver. Nice.
Full Black Cleaver now picked up for the Gnar. And Sivir is absolutely gigantic. Still not even first core item yet completed for aiming. We take another look at this team fight, and this is game deciding. This reminds me of the Herald. And for what is the question that you have to ask Afreeca in the VOD review here. They channel the TP in from Keen. He's in no man's land. He's not in Kansas anymore. Eaten up by Senen, but Senen can't go any deeper. Ended up doing so, got caught by the Gnar ultimate, becomes a Lissandra passive, ends up chasing, aiming away. Cuvee continues on, and they just get so much value. Get the ace, they get all the plates, they get the XP and the minions.
Yeah.
And they get the Mountain Drake.
Cuvee just looking like it's another day in the office, guys. This is the kind of play that he makes on the Gnar. His teamfight Gnar is probably the best in the world, and has been known for it for many, many years now. That was the buff that Gen.G managed to get them to Worlds.
Yep.
In 2018 and 2017 as well, I'm pretty sure, and then went on to win. It's largely to do with the fact that this guy's pretty good at picking Gnar at any time and team fighting on it. Because we see a lot of split pushing Gnars from a lot of our other Gnar players. He does play that style very, very well with the on-hit style of build. But Cuvee does it different. He's all about getting Mega Gnar at the right time and smacking people into walls.
This point in the game, it is a 4.5 thousand gold deficit, and it's about to be an Infernal as well, most likely, going over to Gen.G in just 2.5 minutes. Rift Herald now finally picked up. Scuttle Crab RNG is in their favor. Everything is just going fantastic right now if you are a Gen.G fan. This is looking extremely reminiscent of game number 1. And with the poor rounding out of the Sona team composition here, normally I would say, okay, it is still a Sona comp. If they can make it to 25-30 minutes, they might have a chance. But realistically, I just don't think that they do, because they're playing a 4v5 because of the Sylos here.
Yeah, well, I mean, they made the decision. I wanted to at least, I don't know, humor the fact that they picked it for a reason. But so far, I mean, he does have a bevy of ultimates that he can go towards, right? I mean, there are a lot of really high-value ones. Frozen Tomb and Glacial Prison on the same team feels pretty good as far as hijacking abilities is concerned. You can chain them late game in team fights, so he still has that ability. But I just don't know whether late game team fights are going to be a thing, because this is happening on the top side of the map.
Okay.
Chain Perma CC'd and dead.
You ever been pinned between a Mega Gnar and a Kevin Tuggle?
The old, good old Big Bristle.
Yeah. Is that what they call him? Big Brissy?
Big Brissy. Yeah. Well, I mean, at the moment, it is Big Bristle with a peanut on his back, you know, and the Peanut's doing some pretty fantastic things with that flail, but Big old Bristle is also just smacking people in the face. Afreeca Freecs desperately trying to not fall down the same way that SKT did with a Sona that, I mean, at least aiming managed to complete the quest. I don't know when it was, but it was before 20 minutes. And that is good, but we saw the Sona composition once again just fail utterly in the hands of SKT, and Afreeca aren't managing to pilot it either. I feel like people have watched, you know, Kingzone's game and Griffin's game, of course, being the perfect example of what Sona looks like when she's completely busted, but this is not one of those examples.
Yeah, this is definitely not. 35 seconds until the Infernal Dragon's going to go over to Gen.G, because realistically, if Afreeca tries to contest that, they're just going to get absolutely face-rolled.
Oh, yeah.
Inside of the river. Oblivion Orb completed for Kuzan. He should probably be going Morellonomicon's second core item.
Yep, unless he feels the need to go towards Zhonya's because his stopwatch is already broken. It's the only other argument that I would have.
Blade of the Ruin King is also being picked up for Cuvee on the Gnar. So he's going to have more split push potency as well as self-heal inside of the fights and added sustain. So that's going to be quite nice. And the attack speed.
To build towards a Trinity Force, but as you can see, it's a ruby crystal and a tiny little sword. Cuvee gets the hop, doesn't get it over again, as Dread, you can see, just cantering around. They want to make sure that Cuvee can't get to Mega with the prowling projectiles just so huge, especially against Dread's Hecarim. who hates running slowly and also hates it when your skill shots basically can't miss him.
Yeah. It is quite unfortunate, as Hecarim is going to have a rough time. Now, a little bit of a breathing moment here for Afreeca, though, that they're granted. So, if Baron goes the way of Gen.G, the game will just end. And so Afreeca is going to have to play this song and a dance and somehow devise a way to prevent them from getting that, stall the game for another 15 minutes, and then have some sort of a dream engage where Sylas isn't a
waste of space.
But that was a really nice way of saying it. You know, I actually couldn't come up with a word. I wanted to open up a thesaurus so that I didn't get TOS
yeah, you got to watch out for that one. You got to watch out for that one. Clearing minion waves as well as Life, making sure that he's as safe as possible, on top of the fact that Gen.G are unface checkable. You just can't walk at them.
Even with all the Merc creds on the side of Afreeca right now, that just means that Sivir and Gnar are going to hit like trucks with their generic auto attacks. So
I want to draw your attention somewhere.
Draw it.
Look at how many control wards there are. Kuzan just put his down, but they had...
Oh, Life is truly embracing the Yuumi cosplay here. He picked up a Magi Soul Stealer just to have the book without any stacks.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
What do you think Yuumi reads? Do you think that's like a floating Kindle?
Maybe.
It might be, right?
Maybe it's a thesaurus. Maybe you should ask Yuumi for one.
Ooh.
You were looking for one earlier.
What if she got trapped?
Right now, it's just another set of buttons.
Oh, and then when she gets tired of losing and all the people just dragging her win rate down and rank, she becomes a champion in the next season.
Yuka looking for Ruler. The Gnar not going to land. Spell Shield in from Ruler was perfect. Final chapter does get the root in the end. Senin with the Devour, but they're not out of the woods just yet. Song of Celerity from Aiming's trying to keep them alive as that ultimate went completely wide. That's a fantastic four-man crescendo. Can the turnaround get in? But no! The health bars are just gigantic on Gen.G. No Mega Gnar just yet. Cuvee will finally have it. Gen.G thinking about whether or not these health bars are low enough. The answer is going to be no. It's Cuvee just patrolling to try and get them out of here. Can they get an inroad towards this Baron is the question. The answer is reset, come back with even more control wards.
Yeah, well, they're going to steal away some of the camps of Dread. Peanut.
He can start engages like that anytime he wants.
We'll have to see when Gen.G is going to get another opening. It's an okay, it's an okay gold disparity in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that's fancy things going on, but that's just a goal lead.
Yeah, it is. It is quite sizable right now, and things are still going very, very, very well.
Khan feels like You and Me is like just a better battle dance.
Okay.
Makes you untargetable. And look, the Gleaming Quill actually does damage. Amazing.
Gen.G's actually being overly cautious, I feel. They could easily start the Baron with the sustain and the healing that they have on some of their champions, and one of the problems that we are seeing here in game number 2 is they are being really cautious and passive.
Has himself a Lich Bane completed, so that's 2 items done for him, but that Merlinomicon that you were calling for is now done for Kuzan, and Static Shiv picked up by Ruler. He just wants to do some 100 magic damage every third auto attack. Wait, no, never mind.
Wrong game.
Yeah, wrong game. Just wants to clear out minion waves more fast than he already is. I think that like one Ricochet auto attack will probably just clear a minion wave. As you can see, does a lot of work.
It's okay.
It's not bad. Just feels like he doesn't need the range, and I can understand that.
And the sustain that they have on their champions, they can just hit the purple monster.
Just start it with
the Baron.
Buttons.
Just start it up. Afreeca will come. They will come barreling in. He'll have the Yuumi ultimate, the Sejuani ultimate. Peanut trying out for the New England Patriots before, but he should be able to hit it in the river.
I reckon he can, like, if Afreeca are coming for a face check, that's one that you can hit, you know? That's generally how that works. Ruler hanging out here in the mid lane.
God.
Oh dear, he's going to need one hell of a spell shield to stop this one. The flash comes in, they don't go for the dive as Dread slowed down by the Winter's Wrath. Teleport now coming in, final chapter not doing a whole lot of work as Kuzan gets the Frozen Tomb in the backline. Ring of Frost is fantastic, keeps himself alive. Huge Gnar into the wall, and of course, Cuvee makes it happen. Yukal in the backline just wishes it was up again.
What Cuvee is doing right there, he tanks all the turret hits because the cannon is almost dead.
Yep.
And in doing so, it makes sure that the turrets are not super tanky.
Yep, no
the
backdoor
minion
bonus
proximity.
available.
That's
Nexus
the
turret
game.
number 2 is going to go down, and you're exactly right. 27.5 minutes into this game, and Gen.G make it back-to-back swift and easy victories over the Afreeca Freecs. I don't think anyone was expecting this, but this LoL Park right now is erupting because so many Gen.G fans have been waiting for...
There was nothing that Afreeca could do to really hope to stabilize. They had the Azir in game number 1 that they could maybe have tried to rely on, but in this game, it was a Sona team composition that just had 2 champions that were really out of place.
Yeah.
And maybe the Sylos was really a panic pick at the very end of the
Frozen Tomb and Glacial Prison in the same team fight, given the fact that once you're level 16, have 3 ranks in that ultimate, it is strong, but yeah, I mean, that's just